So how goes it so far, Blake?
It's been going good. This fall camp has, been a new experience from last year as a plebe. So it's been nice to sort of, mesh with the team, get used to the new offense and everything, and sort of go out and execute at a high level.
What's been the biggest difference for you as far as sort of what your perception was and what the reality is of being, running as the QB1 in this offense and what it's like? I mean, you had to have a picture in your mind what it'd be like doing this on a daily basis. Is it any different than what you're doing now daily?
Of course, you have the idea in your mind, but it's completely different when you get out there. All eyes are on you. You have the ball in your hands every play. You have to operate at a really high level, make the right read, make the right play every time. So, gotta get used to that and everything and be a more consistent player overall. But it's been a good experience, I think.
How things going on the decision making process, the sort of mind melding with your OC and everybody else?
It's been going good. You have to get out there and sort of execute what his vision for the offense is. So being on the same page with him, with Coach Jasper, with everybody, just being able to sort of be their voice on the field when we get out there and able to execute how we're supposed to.
Great. Thanks, Blake.
Thank you.
Wags.
Good to see you, Blake.
Good to
I
see you
guess talk about how the preseason's going. I mean, from day one to now, do you feel like you've made a lot of strides? And if so, in what ways?
Yeah, I think I've made a lot of strides just, getting able to understand everything, what we're trying to do, really, how we're trying to affect the defense and where the ball's trying to go. I think I've grown in the passing game as well. Decision making, just being able to move on from plays and, make the right reads and everything.
Kind of talk about how the competition's going. I mean, I know you got two veteran quarterbacks who want to get their spots in the depth chart back. They both have started won games for Navy, and I'm sure they're working hard to try to regain.
Yeah, it's been a good competition so far. We all make each other better out there. We're all bouncing ideas off each other because this is a whole new offense for all three of us, really, even though it still has some option undertones. So we're sort of, making sure we all understand it, what we're trying to do out there. And we're all making each other better. So it's been good to learn from them. It's been good to help them as well because they didn't get the reps in spring ball that me and Teddy got. So, they're coming to me for questions. I'm coming to them for some of the option stuff that they've known. But I think overall we're sort of melding really well as a room.
What do you feel you still need to work on? Is there any one thing that you feel like you're not quite there yet in order to be ready to go out there against Notre Dame possibly? Is there still one area that you feel needs to be improved?
I just think it's overall consistency, mainly in the passing game, just being able to make the right decisions quickly, getting the ball to where it needs to go. But I think that's sort of where what I've been working on. It's been getting better, but I think still, always room to grow there.
So can you talk about, I think when I interviewed you at practice one day, I asked you about this, but maybe elaborate again about, I mean, this is like a whirlwind. Last year, you were playing in junior varsity games, I'm going to guess. Did you?
Yes.
Right. So, I mean, the idea from 1 year later, possibly starting against Notre Dame, it's got to be mind-blowing in some ways.
Yeah. I mean, if you would have told me a year ago today I'd be in this position, I may not have believed you. But like you said, those JV games, we weren't even running our offense fully at practice before those days because we had to serve as the scout team. So, the running the JV games was the first time I was really able to run, Navy's offense and getting able to execute it. But I mean, it's just, a great opportunity I had in spring and then being able to capitalize on that and then move it to where I'm at now. I think it's, just been great.
So how do you, if you're in a position of starting that game in Dublin, Ireland, how do you, kind of put the nerves away and focus? I mean, that's going to be, you haven't played a down of varsity football.
Yeah. I think it's really leaning on the guys around me. We've had a lot of guys, a lot of young guys who've gotten a lot of playing time from, their freshman years to last year, especially the juniors. So, we got guys like Daba, a lot of guys on the offensive line, a lot of those guys, leaning on them for their expertise. They've been super supportive with everything and, their trust. So, just going out there, executing with them, I think that'll put the nerves away.
How do you feel the offense is looking overall? Obviously, we talked at length about there's new elements to the offense. It's going to be different, still triple option based, but a lot of new wrinkles. How do you think it's looking?
I think we're moving fast. I think we're executing at a higher level than we did in spring. And I think we're moving in the right direction to where we want to go as an offense this year. But I think the speed is the main thing for me. I think we just move a lot faster and a lot more confidently to where we're trying to get the ball.
That's good for me for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about what you've learned from Ty and our line, what they've kind of what they've given you as far as information being in this position?
I think it really just comes with what being a quarterback really means, and like how you have to act, how you have to be off the field, be in the training room, be in the weight room, be a leader everywhere at the academy. I mean, everyone's got eyes on you at all times. So I think it's more the experience that they've taught me and how I have to go about my business off the field as well. So I think that's been instrumental.
Do you guys talk at all about what an acceptable completion percentage is for a quarterback in this offense?
I don't know if we've ever, set a specific number, but it's always just about you can't miss the open throws. So, we want to be 100% and, take chances when we get them. If we get one-on-one coverage, we've really talented receivers out there. So, sometimes those 50-50 balls go up in the air, but I think we really want to try and complete every throw, but we don't have a set number, just, being able to execute as a thrower,
Yeah. Hey, have you, by the way, have you been out of the country before? Have you traveled much?
No, never to Europe, never over there, sometimes just some cruises and such, but never overseas like that.
Enjoy it. You'll have a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Wags.
Blake, kind of talk about the passing game, and I know we've talked a lot about Navy trying to incorporate the short passing game and other elements. How's that coming along?
It's really good. We've had a lot of time, a lot of reps in spring. I think that was more important for me in the option game, coming from where I came out in high school, understanding that. But I think that where I've been able to grow in the passing game and getting the reps with the team, I think it's been a lot better, like from compared to last year, just understanding everything. I think we have some really good route concepts, some really good ways to affect the defense. So I've been excited by it. I think we have opportunistic passing plays and being able to take advantage of what the defense gives us.
I mean, Navy's always talked about being very efficient in the passing game, and in the rare instances when Navy does pass, it needs to be able to complete and really make the defense respect that element. Now you probably be passing a little bit more than Navy has in the past, but still nothing crazy. Can you talk about how critical it is to make completions? I mean, if the rare occasion you try a pass play, it needs to really hit and catch the defense, and if you or throw a ball that's 4 yards beyond the guy's hands, that's not good.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we talk about every day in practice. Coach Jasper always talks about hitting the open man. We have to take advantage of the plays when we get them. Like you said, we're going to aim to pass a little bit more this year, but I think the same thing is, when we get backed up and such, we have to be able to complete a football and, get chunk yardage when we need it. I think that's something different from the past, we've leaned on the run more. I think this year, we feel confident that we'll be able to pass the ball when we need to get chunk plays. So I think that's been really, really helpful this year.
And you feel like you're developing good chemistry with the receivers?
Yes. Yep. Every day we're out there throwing. We've spent all summer throwing. We had our player-led practices, which mostly consisted of, the competing against the defense in our 7-on-7. So we've been able to sort of get that timing down, the routes where they're supposed to be. If something's messed up, they come right to us, talk about what we think we can fix. And so it's been really nice.
And if you feel like Navy's got some good weapons in the passing game, I mean,
of course. Jay Numbarger, Troy Myers, Nathan Kent, Kamari Williams, Cody Howard, Regis Velez, all those guys. all those guys can catch the ball, high point, run with it. They're all very talented.
All right, I'm good for now. Thanks, Blake.
Thank you.
Pete Medhurst.
Blake, by the nature of your position, is there an element of patience, being willing to take the 4-yard completion when it's there, knowing that the math still works in your team's favor if that's the way it works out?
Yeah. Just understanding what we're trying to do. Not every play has to be a touchdown. We're trying to chunk yards down the field and possess the ball, I think, is really the big thing. We want to keep the ball out of the other team's hands. So being able to take the ball where it's supposed to go, trust that, a 1-yard pass might go for 5 yards with our talent that we have to make a move and get some plays going. So I think the patience is a big key with our offense, just having trust in the plays that are being called and understanding what we're trying to do.
Obviously, with most passing games, the formations are going to be non-traditional based on the stuff you've experienced running. What's that learning curve been like, seeing guys lined up in a lot of different places, but also understanding the concepts of what everyone is supposed to do and find the right person on that play?
Yeah. We put in a lot of different formations this year compared to years past. And I think that, understanding that each formation does lead to something different and understanding what each guy's trying to do. So it's a lot of stuff to process, but each play, just taking it slow, almost like you said with the last question, the patience, taking it slow and being to understand that, what we need to do and why that formation may be getting called so we can affect something and get a big play.
Talking with Kamari yesterday, he spoke about being able to talk with Coach Chestnut. And in this case, do you guys in the quarterback room have that ability to talk with Coach Jasper and obviously Coach Chestnut and say, hey, as we see it from our position, here's what we think is working, and have some give and take as to what you're trying to structure there within the offense?
Yeah. Coach Chestnut and Coach Jasper both have an idea for what a play is supposed to look like and what we're trying to do. So we've spent a lot of time sort of refining the little things and how we can make each play better, whether it's our footwork, whether it's how we're trying to out leverage the defense on any certain play, or where we're supposed to be running the ball or throwing the ball. There's a lot of give and take and just trying to understand, especially within the quarterback room, of trying to help each other out and trying to get that sense of, okay, well, what did he say to you about this play and that play, and sort of understanding what he wants us to do for the offense.
Since spring, there has been a lot of competition for the position that you play. Can you take us inside what being a competitor in a situation like that is like? Because I'm not sure any of us have ever experienced something like that, where literally at spring, there were 4 or 5 people easily that had a chance to win this particular job.
Yeah, it's a competition, but, I love every guy in that room. They're all my brothers. I root for them every time they're out there. So we all root for each other's successes. So it's more about just controlling what we can control, making good decisions, operating the offense at a high level, and trying to go out there and, leave our mark when we're out there. But also, I'm rooting for all the other guys to make good plays as well, because we have to be able to operate, whoever's starting to whoever's the backup, whoever's third string. As we saw last year with Masai Maynor coming in against Notre Dame, making big plays. We have to all be able to operate the offense. So I think it's just going out there, controlling what we can control every play.
How exciting are the new concepts that have been introduced, to you as a quarterback? How exciting are those new concepts?
Good. They're really exciting. I think just to make us, like I said earlier, they make us a lot more fast. We're able to get the ball on the edge quicker. We're able to do things at a different speed than we have in the past without having to worry about different things. And just, all the new schemes that we have, I think it really opens us up to some more big play opportunities.
Appreciate it. I'm good. Thanks, Blake.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for Blake? Go ahead,
I
Randy.
got one. So, in your words, what is this thing, a tight end?
They're versatile. They can line up outside at receiver. They can get down, put their hand in the box, and make some big blocks for us. I think they'll be a really pivotal part of our offense, being able to add another guy into the line of scrimmage, or even, when they're out there, they can be threats to the passing game. So I think it'll be a good mix that, Navy hasn't had in the past.
and may indeed probably take a little bit of a while to mature.
Yeah, of course. With everything, there's a learning curve, but with the new offense, I think we're trying to incorporate them a little more than the learning curve was last year.
Well, Ivan, tell us how the quarterback competition's coming along.
It's not really competition. They all competing pretty much with themselves, really. Each person needs to get better at something, whether it be decision making, whether it be fundamentals, technique, and those kind of things. So each guy has his faults that he has to prove at, and that's what they're working on. And when it comes down to it, the guy that's doing the best, the guy that we feel gets a chance to win the game, will be the starter.
In particular, how has Blake been this camp? I mean, has he made great strides from day one to where we are now?
Yes, he has. Blake had a great spring, turned a lot of heads in spring. And, his biggest deal was getting better throwing the football, which he has improved with that. From an option standpoint, he runs it very well. He's a technician. He's an engineer. He's faster than what you think he is. Can get on perimeter pretty fast, but his base thing has been decision making in the passing game, and that's something that right now, we have to be able to trust him with. And that's something right now that's a little bit great because again, he's still making bad decisions. And again, it's my job to get that fixed, and I'll continue to grind and press on him to make better decisions.
And in terms of that, I mean, if he were to start against Notre Dame, I mean, that's a lot of pressure for a guy. I mean, he didn't play any varsity snaps last year. He played in JV games and ran scout team.
Right.
Do you feel like he's asking a lot of a guy to step onto that stage and perform with no game experience?
I mean, it's always, something you think about for a young player to have a start in that game, but again, it's football, it's competition. Every young kid dreams of that moment, and I'm sure it's something that he's excited about. I'm sure it's something he wants to be able to do and wants to go out and prove everybody wrong. That people may think he's too green right now to be in that situation. So it's something that we're talking about. I just every day with those guys about being ready to play on the big stage. Trying to put them in positions to get that feeling of being in a big stadium. Putting the pressure on him as well. So we'll see. We'll continue to practice, continue to get ready for this game, and come August 26th, if he's out there and he's starting, he'll be ready to go.
I think Wags is underestimating Myrtle Beach Prep too. Wags.
Yes, I have not studied Myrtle Beach Prep. Ty, he's the most experienced quarterback as far as games played, regular season games played. How's he coming along? Is he, do it look like he's back to his old self? No signs of the injury still?
It's I'm very pleased with Ty. Very pleased from a standpoint of, again, he had gained a lot of weight. He was up to around 240 pounds. I shouldn't put that out there. I'm pretty sure he doesn't want me to, but he was up there in weight. But, he showed that he cared by working his butt off and getting down to where his playing weight, where he was last year. So very, very pleased with that. And he's been running around very well. Now, again, Ty's not a kid that is, a fast player, but he's been running well, changing direction very well. Looks like his old self. Obviously, from throwing the football, he's a very polished thrower. Option-wise, obviously, he's a very solid technician. Again, as far as operating out in the offense, the matter for him, again, is just he's still two now. He has that big arm mentality. Sometimes wants to make that big throw, tries to force the football, and we simply cannot have that. We're not built for that. We're built for smart throws. That's something that he needs to continue to work on. But again, those two guys right now, the top two guys, and they're doing a pretty good job. But the biggest thing, again, it always comes down to decision making. And as a quarterback, that's your main job, decision making, and it's my job to get those guys ready to go and make better decisions.
I'll pass it off to someone else.
Pete, Matt Hurst. You're muted.
We keep hitting the mute button too much. To that extent, even with the new concepts, is that just something that's going to come with the more they do it? And the way you see them now on August the 9th is going to be completely different than September 22nd, per se, just as they continue to do these concepts more right now in practice and obviously at some point at game speed.
Exactly. Like everything else, repetition, is the greatest teacher. And we've been doing a lot of it. We've been getting after it. A lot against our defense. And I think it's the best thing for those guys. For me, in our individual drills, me being the read key and things like that, just trying to give those guys the look. Individuals are more for working on the footwork, getting the footwork down and obviously your technique. But again, having live bullets against our guys and being able to play against our defense with bringing pressure every single play, that's something that they need. And again, it's been really, really good for us, and we'll continue to get better at it. And yes, as the season goes on, as they play more and more, the new concepts, they'll get very comfortable with them. But we want that now. We want to be able to go into our first game, being able to do a lot more on offense, and be able to be more versatile, and be able to make teams have to prepare for a lot. And then again, we can show them something different on game day that they haven't seen. So, we're in a good place, but at the same time, it's got to continue to work these guys and get them ready to go.
We ask the players these questions when there's some conceptual change, but I'll ask you as a coach. You've been teaching the same thing for a long time. As a coach, fresh concepts, kind of energetic to see something different and be able to help teach.
Well, it always
year after for over 20 years.
I'm excited about it, and again, it was definitely a tough time when changes were made. I'm nervous about not being here, but obviously still being here, being part of this program is definitely a huge plus. But also, again, some changes on offense. Some new concepts, some new teaching. I'm fired up with it. The kids are fired with it. They're happy about it. So just a matter of now, again, putting it all together. And again, on Saturday, putting a great product on the football field and be able to move the football and score some points and kind of get us back to where we used to be.
Along those lines, wanted to ask you how this camp has been different from you, or is it sort of it's just the same old, or how have you adapted to the new staff and how have they adapted to you, and what's been different about this camp?
I mean, it's the camps are always always the same pretty much for me. The approach is always to go out and take it one day at a time, and to realize that it's early in the process as far as where we are in camp. Things are not going to look as the way you want them to look right now. But again, we have, the time is clicked, the clock is ticking. We got to get ready to play. But things will get better as we move on. Once we exchange scouts and start honing in on what we want to do for this game plan, so guys can start honing in on what our game plan is. Kids kind of start getting in their mind of what we're going to do. But for me, again, it's the fall, man. It's the fall, and it's time to play some football, and I'm just excited. And so it's always the same for me. And the biggest thing is just, again, I'm thankful and grateful, to Coach Newberry, for keeping me here and still being part of this program.
You touched on it a little bit, but I'm always interested in sort of the mental aspect of the game, especially from the quarterback position and the guys that. Mm-hmm. And when you're working with, and you talked about, nothing's better than, live fire, but how do you work on it outside of practice? What are some of the things that you do, and how do you work on some of the mental aspects of the game outside of just being at practice?
Well, just show them film. Obviously, again, been there for a very, very long time and coaching a lot of really good quarterbacks. And it's funny that you asked that question, because last night we had a discussion about being a quarterback. And let's say we're averaging 70 snaps a game, which would be great for us. I said, guys, they may play where you just hand the football off, but if we're getting 70 snaps a game, you have to be perfect as a quarterback now on every single snap. And I try to get those guys to understand that. As a quarterback, you cannot have an off day, you cannot have an off series. You have to go out and perform at your best every single time we have the football. And trying to get the guys to understand that, and understand the pressure that's on them to be able to do that every single time they go out on the football field. And I say, guys, it's a lot of pressure. It seems like it's something that's hard to do. I said, but I've seen it done a lot, where our QBs have gone out and played really, really good football, for the entire game. So it's something that I've been telling these guys every single night. We've talked about it in our meetings. They have to understand that, how important it is to be a quarterback in this offense, in this program, how important it is for you to play well every single game, every single series, and even off the field. you always got to be on point as a quarterback because everybody is watching as well. So it's come full circle for these guys to understand the position and what everything they have to do, the responsibility of playing a position and what it all entails. So it's a pretty good thing. The pressure is on these guys, but the great ones always step up. And we'll find out who the great one is when we start playing.
Thanks, Coach.
I'll go back to Pete. Pete, want to take another shot?
As you have taught these guys through individual drills, now obviously spending time in spring and spending time right now, in terms of the progress you expect, the things that you demand of a coach at that position, do you feel that a group that started with at least 5 in spring that legitimately had a chance to win that job, do you see all 5 or do you see these 2 based on what has happened here of late, at least in terms of practice reps, have kind of separated themselves from the other 3?
Well, from a standpoint of like Blake, Blake really showed up in the spring. We're very, very excited about Blake. Blake has a chance to be really good. But again, the decision-making part is always the key aspect of being a quarterback. You have to be good at, okay? You can have not a strong arm, okay? Have to be the fastest guy. But if you're a smart football player and you make great decisions as a quarterback, you give us a chance to win. And that's been the biggest thing. But Blake is done really well. Ty is doing great. Don't forget now we have X there as well, okay?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of football, So the room is you have guys in the room. You have 2 guys who played a lot of football for us, our 2 senior quarterbacks, and you have Blake who's coming along as a young kid who came out of spring and just really stepped up and is really playing well. So we have 3 guys, okay, that you feel really good about. Teddy Gleaton, he's dealing with some academic issues. He's in summer school right now, So, but having 3 guys, but 2 of those guys, as playing experience that have won games for us. I mean, it's a good situation to have, not just a matter of getting these guys to work as one, to support each other, to have each other's back. But again, as always, we're going to need at least 2 quarterbacks to get through a season, but having 3 makes it even better.
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, Julie Miller.
Hi, I'm Julie from FanBuzz, a little new around here. So with your over 20 years of experience at Navy, what's like the best quality or skill that you've seen in a quarterback? What's that one thing that you're sort of looking for or happy when you see it?
Well, again, I know I've said it a lot, and I know it's like a broken record, but it comes down to decision making. That's
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna use one guy. I've always used Keenan Reynolds because again, he was just a great football player and just made great decisions. But I'm gonna go somewhere else this time. I'm gonna use Malcolm Perry because Malcolm, again, was a kid who came to quarterback, said, "Coach, I want to do it, but just I want to play well. I don't want to get back there and screw up and cost the team games." So he came to the position, wanted to do great and wanted to be and to be a solid quarterback for us. So for him, his decision making was something that was really huge for him, and he played really well. Now Malcolm had another part of his game that was just being able to make some things happen, but from a standpoint of just making great decisions, taking care of the football, and for Malcolm, if something wasn't there, what he did, he put it down and took off running, which is a really good thing. But again, it comes down to decision making as a quarterback. That's your number one, and again, I think at any level, quarterback, the number one.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be good at what I want to see for quarterbacks, being a good decision maker.
Yeah, you mentioned a more mobile quarterback. What I know the game has changed in the last 20 years quite a bit. What are some of the biggest trends that you've seen with like quarterback skills? It used to be pocket passing. What are some of like the biggest things that you've seen in the last 20 years?
Well, obviously, it's mobility.
Yeah.
Ability to run. Again, yes, the game has changed. A lot of more spread offenses, a lot of more active quarterbacks that can run the football, that can help you be better as a football team. We have a mobile quarterback. That's another element to your offense that, again, is very dangerous and keeps a lot of people up at night worrying about, well, if we got these things covered now, well, if he takes off running, what's the answer for that? Some people don't have an answer for that. So, again, having a mobile quarterback who's a threat to run the football is huge, you know. And again, the game has changed so much. I think that's the number one thing today now is having that mobile quarterback.
Right, right. What's your biggest motivation for doing what you do for so long?
You know, I was asked that question by, by the players, because we had so now I give them a question every single night and go around the room, say, guys, what was your best decision you made or anything in life that they've up to this point. But for me, first of all, again, I love the game. I've always said that, I'm never a guy that talks about where I grew up. I'm from the hood, all kinds of stuff. That's just not me. But in reality, I came from a rough place, didn't have much, had to scratch and fight whatever I had, and football was my outlet, and it, the opportunity to get from a rough place to go from, again, the hood to paradise, Hawaii, and I spent 5 years there. It took me 5 years to graduate. Spent 5 years there. I loved it. 5 years not bad in Hawaii. But that's the game. I love the game, and it's open to me, for me to give back to it is to always cherish the game, to honor the game by loving it, never making it a business decision for me. Nothing about money or that. Coach the game because I love it. And then last but not least is the players. These kids here, they're great kids. They give you everything they got. I love seeing those guys win games against teams that people say have no chance of beating. Getting to see the joy on their face when you win games is a great feeling.
Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it. The passion is super obvious when you talk about it. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
It took me 5 years to graduate from Indiana, so don't worry about that.
Yes.
5 years here too.
Thanks. You're still mute. Yeah, you go.
Did you call on me?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took me 5.5 years to graduate Towson because I was kindly asked to leave for a little while.
I'm not shocked. Please.
When do you think you're going to get Teddy back for everyday practices?
Oh, he should be back next week. Be back next week, and gonna get him right in there and get him going, get him back up to speed. Again, he's been working out. Hope he's not in too rough a shape, but get him back next week, and I'll be very, very, very excited to get him back.
Well, I mean, obviously he emerged from spring camp #1. So, I mean, do you think he can still get back into this mix? Maybe not by the season opener, but maybe down the road you have a bye week after the opener.
Yes, it's such a long season, and the key again is to have depth at the position. Like with Xavier, just talking about being able to get that kid on the field. He's a really, really great athlete. Maybe find some things that a special package that we can do with him to get him on the football field. But it's a long season. It's a long season, and we're going to need depth at every position. And getting Ted back's going to be huge for us, and he can definitely get himself back into that role as the season progresses.
So all the coaching fans out there that like to email me have asked about if the Xavier's not top 3 on the depth chart, would you consider playing him at slot back?
Yeah, I mean that's something that we discussed. We haven't really made a plan for it yet, but it has been discussed because again, the thing I'm sure that he doesn't want to do is spend his entire senior year watching. So depending on again our quarterback play, you have Blake, you have Ty. If they're playing steady and playing solid for us, we got to find a way to get X on the field because again, he's a great athlete with the ball in his hands. He's a great runner, and we got to take advantage of that. Can't waste that.
So there's been a lot of talk about adding some passing elements. What is your assessment of how that is progressing so far? And I think when you played at Hawaii, Coach Johnson passed the ball a little bit, if I recall talking to him about that. I mean, it depending on personnel, there's passing that can be done out of this offense. Always has been.
Oh, exactly. The biggest thing that we're trying to do is, have a simple passing game, but effective passing game. Our kids, our O-linemen are not big pass blockers, so we got to be smart with what we do. And the concepts that Coach Hessen's brought in are pretty clean concepts for our guys, pretty clear reads, but they're very effective routes, So again, it's going to come down to the quarterbacks being able to, again, make their reads, make great decisions, and get the ball where it needs to be. And then obviously not taking a chance to turn the football over. So I'm excited about what we're doing. Again, if we can be more balanced, throwing the football and running the football, obviously makes you even more tougher to defend. Or if 1 week you have a great game throwing the football, people prepare for that. Next week, you're running the football. So again, just trying to be a nightmare to prepare for. It's all coming together. And again, we got a few more weeks to get this thing going.
We're running down on time, and there's others that want to ask questions. I'll let you go. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. All right, my man.
Just as an FYI, at Hawaii, Ivin had 619 career rushing yards, 15 touchdowns, 238 career receiving yards and a touchdown, and 805 passing yards and 7 touchdowns. Pete.
I'm good. I don't have anything that hadn't been asked. Thanks.
Joe.
Yeah, I just had one other question, and I don't know if this is a silly question, but I was, obviously we're working off the base. The offense is, basically we're still talking about the same offense, but I was wondering if you guys are teaching anything differently than you have in the past, or is it basically the same not talking about playmaking or plays itself, but sort of just the way you're reading things or anything like that. Are you teaching anything different than what you've done in the years past?
Option football is option football. Again, and the offense, the basis of it is still, what myself and Coach Chestnut, we both played for Coach Johnson. That's where the base of the offense starts. So a lot of our base concepts are things that he instilled in us, that he taught us. That is the base of the offense. So, but option wise, there's things that we're doing different. Don't want to put that out there, but again, it's definitely a little bit different. It kind of helps the quarterback a lot as well. So we're excited about where we're going. Now it's just a matter of continue to, get well like a well-oiled machine. Want to get this thing greased up and get ready to go.